Hey, William Mears here. Welcome to the live session for February 14th, 2020. If you can tell, I don't know if you can or not, but I'm still pretty stopped up. Man, I have had a hell of a run-in with something, and I'm just honestly, I'm just happy I have my voice. I got it back a few days ago, so I've been trying to take care of it. Anyway, lots of stuff has been going on. I know you haven't seen a lot yet, uh, but you can take my word for it. There's a lot going on behind the scenes in order to get things ready for the Ring Ads launch that's coming publicly, and that's coming soon. This didn't help any, but that's okay. Um, we're still doing pretty well on everything. It's just the last few pieces I really want in line. Um, the best way I can describe this is, you know, if I give this to you before it's ready, not before it's perfect. Don't get me wrong. Like there's plenty of stuff that we're going to be, um, adding um, to the software, adding to the training, the systems and processes. There's stuff that we're revamping, a ton of stuff. Okay, that's going to be coming. So nothing's ever going to be perfect, and so we're not. Don't think for a second that we're holding on to this idea that we're going to launch when it's perfect. But I also know what it takes to succeed in this model, very much so, and I'm very aware of that. Very well, let's say hyper aware of it. I'm conscious of what you're going to need, and then some of the things that maybe you don't need to make it work, but that would make it a hell of a lot easier for you. I'm also making sure that those are in place. And so there's just a couple of blocks left. We've had some major movement this past week, which is good in that direction. And so I'm pretty excited because that means we're very close to launching publicly. So that said, let me. I've just got a couple of slides here, nothing crazy. But if you have questions along the way, let me know in the comments. I'll be more than happy to answer what I can. And yeah, I'm going to keep it a light one. Obviously, I'm still kind of recovering, but I wanted to be here. I wanted to share with you that Ring Ads is coming soon and answer any questions that you might have. Other than a deadline or a set date, we don't have that yet. Um, but what I can tell you is, as soon as I know, you will know 100%. I'll be posting in the Facebook group. I'll be posting via email. And so if you're on the early bird list, for example, at ringads.com, then you're going to be set up. You're going to be good. Okay, let me jump over to my screen here real quick. Let me see if I can go into present mode. It should make it easier. There we go. All right. Excuse me. So what we normally do is we cover a lot of the same stuff, if you notice, and we do that on purpose. I mean, um, when you there's a million different ways to score a goal, right? And this could be any sport, but there's a million different ways to score a goal. There's a few pretty basic or textbook standard ways though that if you run those plays, uh, you're going to score, right? And that's what I want you to picture here. Like when we cover some of this stuff, and you're like, man, I've already seen this. Um, even with the software launched, you can bet your ass that I'm going to be sitting here on the next call telling you straight, like it is, what needs to be done, where the focus needs to be. For example, the 3 simple rules to massive success. Anything that's going on with the software training updates. Those are important things that need to be covered on a regular basis. The Facebook group reminders, live streams, where to reach us on support, all that kind of stuff. Um, I get messages all the time outside of the five. There's 5 different ways, right? 5 different ways in support. We'll cover that in a minute. 5 ways to reach us direct in support, direct lines of support. and for some reason we still have people trying to go outside of those 5 ways. And I'm not saying I'm not saying that they can't do that or that they shouldn't do that. I'm just saying it might make more sense for them to use the 5 dedicated ways, right? uh, because those are monitored, and if they're monitored, then you're gonna get an answer. And anyway, just something to keep in mind. Like, if I'm still getting messages like that, then that means this message on support, for example, is not getting through to everyone. So I cover it religiously because it's that important. Support in this model it needs to be there. It's just one of those things where um, most people don't feel they can do it on their own, and I think that's a load of crap, a load of hogwash. I know anybody can do it. It's just about someone's level of commitment, perseverance, things like that. However, when there's support present and it's good support, then you can actually not fast forward, but or shortcut or anything, but you can definitely ramp up your speed, if you will, and learning curve, shorten that up, which is obviously motivating in a positive way. So support definitely does help. It can help. You still have to have a certain amount of resolve, though, a certain amount of commitment to make this thing happen. And that pretty much goes with everything. But I've seen it applied directly to this business model, and the more commitment you have to make this thing happen, the easier, and I say easier lightly here, but the easier it's going to be for you. Um, Really, what that means is by easier is the more successful and the faster success you'll have. Okay. And then we're going to talk about the next step. So, anyway, like I said, Ring Ads is launching soon. Again, more details to follow here inside the Facebook group and then via email. And if you have any questions for me while I'm going through this, I'll answer them here towards the end. Not going to be a long call today. Like I said, there's not a ton to cover, and I'm still in recovery. But I will tell you, it is coming. It is coming soon. Um, there are there are things that that I want to make sure that are there. That's what the holdup is. Because if those things are there, then I know you're going to do very well. Okay, that's why I'm waiting. All right, 3 simple rules to massive success. You folks know the deal. So when I talk about these, I try to give you daily examples of or how this applies in your daily life and with this business model. And the thing is this: a lot of people look at these rules and they think, well, I don't, actually, that's a good question. Um, I've heard a lot of people tell me what they think about these rules before and after. Someone has succeeded with this model. But I'm curious. I mean, with where you're at right now, how do you feel about these 3 rules? The reason I ask is because maybe there's something I haven't addressed yet. I'm going to cover a few things, but if you have a certain feeling or a way you feel about these 3 rules here on the screen, let me know what that is, and I'd like to know. I think that's going to make a big difference in how I respond to people in the future as well about these 3 rules. Because see, and I'll give you my answers and what I've heard from other people, right, and how I answer that. A lot of people think that I make these rules to made these rules to um, govern, if you will, right? Um, think of them more as like guidelines, right? Um, Not to take away from their value or anything at all, but um, I'm not telling you what to do here. I'm just telling you, just as a good map would, right, or a good guide would, uh, the best direction you can take. There's no right or wrong direction. I'm just giving you the most direct path that you can take that's going to uh, make things happen for you, right? And so I've had people tell me that they took the rules for granted. These rules, um, where they tried it their way. Notice I've got bullet points here under each piece, each rule. Um, can't tell you, I've lost count of how many times people that were successful and unsuccessful both. Um, People that have tried it their way first, and I say their way meaning, um, they see the training, they learn it, and they go, okay. And then the first thing they do is they start adapting it or changing it, when it's perfectly okay as it is. Um, Not sure why people do that. Uh, and the thing is that, um, we've kind of been there, done that. There's very, very little, if any at all, in some areas that we don't don't already know about. Meaning, there's not much you can try that we couldn't tell you how that's going to end up, or come close to ending up to be. Um, Now, nobody's perfect. Occasionally we're wrong, but I can tell you we're way more right than we are wrong, in terms of, uh, what the results are going to be, right, when you deviate from the training, which is why we say follow the training provided. Um, get creative later. And get creative is being creative is very important. It's just at a certain point, you guys have probably heard the old saying, and I'm paraphrasing here, but in order to be a good leader, you need to be a good follower first, right? Anytime you want to be, a leader in something, you need to be a good follower first. I mean, if you need proof of that, look at Arvin, right? Uh, Great follower turned into a leader. Um, what he does with that, obviously, we'll see. Um, but yeah, you get the idea. It's only because you follow the training initially provided, you get creative later. Okay, that's important. The other thing is, how can we support you, if you deviate from the training? Right? It's very difficult, right? In fact, in some cases, impossible, other than to tell you to come back and follow the training. Not to sound like a parrot or to, make it sound like our way is the right way, but, if you're trying to learn the game of football and you keep coming to practice with a bat in baseball gear, what am I going to do for you, man? You know, make you run laps. That's about all I can do, is like the basic calisthenics. What am I supposed to do with you and all that equipment? Like, it does not belong in the game of football. So keep that in mind. Deviation is a big deal, and even what may seem slight to you is actually huge, on the other end, and you may not see that. So please take that to heart. Don't take that for granted. Make sure that you stick to what you learn as much as possible and get creative later. It's super important. The other thing I see is, people working consistently. I've seen people start and stop. Totally kills momentum, by the way. The same way as deviating from the training does, if not more. Just if people are inconsistent, in the business, I'm not asking for much here. I'm saying ideally you want 1 to 2 hours a day, 5 days a week. All right, you can put more than that in if you want. I'm just saying if you consistently put in, then you're going to have momentum. Okay, if you don't put in to it consistently, then you're not going to have that momentum. And it's not just about your business at first. Remember, the business is you, um, very much for a long time, until you've scaled to a point where it's not quite just about you anymore, right? But initially, uh, your momentum is affected directly by your motivation personally, and commitment, of course. So if you constantly are working on protecting that flame, if you will, till it grows into a fire, the momentum that you have, right? You got to protect that flame from the elements, from the wind that could blow it out, from the rain, all that kind of stuff, right? Uh, if you have the momentum built up, then obviously you're going to, on days where maybe, you don't feel as good, All it takes is seeing one call delivered to a client, or one client re-upping with you, or one new client coming in that you weren't expecting. And that all came from the momentum that you carried forward from a week ago. And you're down this week, but last week you had a hell of a week, and the momentum carried you forward through a crappier week. Um, and crappier is relative, obviously, but the idea here, still, the concept here is, if you maintain the momentum, it's going to push you through your mental hardships, your financial hardships, your emotional hardships, you name it. Okay, man, my phone's blowing up. Awesome. Okay, uh, consistency, very important, right? And it's important enough to the point where you can actually screw this up 6 ways from Sunday. And if you're consistent, you will eventually you will turn a profit. Uh, that's how important number two is. And then number three, this is one that a lot of people take for granted. And I say take for granted, meaning they don't use it as much as they should, maybe. Um, I've seen this happen so many times, and again, across the board, people that have succeeded with this model, people that haven't, and everywhere in between. Uh, People are hesitant to use support for some reason, right? Um, and that's why I wrote at the bottom there. You can see I elaborated on get the help you need before you get frustrated, right? If you're learning something, it can be easy, especially if it's not like a one moving part thing, for you to get frustrated. It's easier for that to happen. If there's a concept that you're not understanding, it could be anything. Can't tell you how many times I've seen people come to me and completely flustered or frustrated or caught up in their own thing on whatever it is that's holding them back, as opposed to setting it down, reaching out for help. It's I get it. It's very much maybe a pride thing for some people, or some kind of an ego thing. Um, the good news is, like, we don't we don't broadcast everybody's support issues or anything like that. So if you message us in support, it stays private unless we ask you for some reason. Like if you gave us a testimonial or something inside a support desk, we'd probably ask you for using that. But that's not help related, right? We're not just going to air out your business like that. So there's no need to be worried about pride or anything like that. I mean, not if you're getting the help you need before you need it. And I say before you need it, before you get frustrated, really. Um, and that goes for anything. So support, support's a big one. I've seen people that were not as engaged, let's say, uh, for the most part, very, very few people that were not engaged succeeded. Very few people have succeeded in this business model without some kind of engagement. And when I say engagement, I'm talking about I'm talking about the live calls that we're on. I'm talking about the Facebook group. I'm talking about using support. Those are all points of engagement uh, that make a big difference whether somebody succeeds or not. Um, Same thing for like live events. You show up to a live event more often than not in your industry, in any industry, you're going to be more engaged. You're going to have more of a network of people to reach out to get support with, to work with, collaborate with. Uh, you know, all kinds of stuff comes from that engagement level, and it's something that I've seen in the more successful people is that when you have more engagement, there's a sense of accountability that comes with it without actually being accountability, because people are looking forward to hearing from those people, right? They want to hear more about their story or their journey, that kind of thing. Very important, very, very important engagement. And support is one of those pieces. That's why that rule is there. So, three simple rules. I know I spend a little bit of time on this every time, but I can't tell you how important. Can't tell you. Words can I don't have the words to tell you how important these three rules are. And I don't want you to think of them as rules that William has set. even though, I did come up with them. Okay, great. Think of them as a guide that says, um, well, you want the shortest way up the mountain, right? Or the easiest way up the mountain, one of the two. This right here is going to make the life you want easier, a hell of a lot easier if you go this way. If you don't go this way, things can get a little bit rocky. Not impossible. Keep in mind, something that's a little bit more rocky is still passable. Still, you can still climb it, uh, but it's not as friendly. It's not as friendly. Um, think well beaten path versus completely uncharted. Best of luck to you, kind of stuff, right? Like that's the difference here. Okay, software training and access. You guys know the deal. You know what's coming here. I've seen some of you have tapped into the free training. I did check on that, by the way, from the last call. Someone said that they could not register for the training. I tested that myself with a brand new email address and the existing account that I had, and everything was working just fine. So I'm not sure what the challenges were there. Hopefully, you just registered another email and you were able to get in. I didn't see anything in support on that, so I'll take that as you got in. Uh, and inside there, you also have, and this is also in the sales, not in the sales group, excuse me, the Ring Ads group. You've got the sales call script. And that's a lot of stuff is located in part one and part two of the pay-per-call agency success and 24 hours or less guides. And that includes the sales script. Someone was asking about the agency website template in the group. That's also in part one, part two. There's going to be tons of stuff that's going to be inside of the software, especially in the training area. So you'll see a lot of that stuff in multiple places, not just the guides or the Facebook group, but also inside the software where the training area is. That way you have access to the information in multiple places. And you'll no longer have to ask where stuff is, because I guarantee you it'll be somewhere or in multiple places in most cases. And that's the goal. Um, we also want you to go ahead and get a Google MCC AdWords account. Um, yes, I know they call it Google Ads, and I also know they don't call it MCC anymore. But if you look it up under Google search, you'll find Google MCC. You'll find the My Account Manager, whatever they're calling it nowadays. Grab that level of account. Don't worry about setting it up or anything yet. You just want to get that MCC set up and going if you don't already have one. And then review part one and part two of the guides. Get ready for that, right? The Ring Ads public launch is coming. So these are the things that I want you to work on for now. There's going to be so much to cover. What we'll probably, excuse me, what we'll probably do, let me come back to my webcam here. What we'll probably do is when we launch, I will send out notifications, like I said, email, Facebook group, and you will know when that's coming. The day that we launch officially, I'll get it down to a day and a set time. It may be live before then for testing, something like that, last minute testing, but basically the day and time we'll probably come on and do a special session, something similar to this in the group, and I'll walk you through the process, right? How we're doing stuff, and then I'll walk you through the back office of the software on the back end, what to expect. You're going to get an email with login credentials, all that kind of stuff. I'll just walk you through the process straightforward, and make sure that there's no questions on that and how it's going to work. But yeah, I think that's going to be pretty straightforward. I just need to get a couple things ready. I'll start sending out notifications, and then we'll launch. And when we launch, like I said, we'll do a video and cover how that's going to go, right? That way you know what to expect and what to do. Not that you would need that, but again, any kind of extra help I can give you, it's gonna be helpful. And then from there, obviously, we can start talking about the rest of the business model, which is cool. So anyway, let me see if there's any. Yeah, Facebook group. Let's see here. So you guys know about the Facebook group. I tend to garden pretty regularly. Less so this past week because I've been really under the weather, but I am still there, and I still tend to the garden. So um, appreciate you folks keeping to that. It's been pretty decent so far. Only had one issue that was taken care of, no big deal. And you guys know, I mean, I understand. If you have a complaint, I have no problems with that whatsoever. You want to complain about something, come to support. 100% come to support. We'll take care of you. And whatever the problem is, it does not belong in the group, right? That's exactly what that group is not about. The group that we're in right now, I'm talking about. And so obviously we do a one warning policy, then you're out indefinitely, right? Um, Keep in mind the group is for uh, all the positives, right? Just like you would if you weeded a garden. And keep in mind when I say weeds, I don't mean people. I mean the attitudes and remarks or comments from your peers that are negative. Those are the weeds, right? And they can be pulled without, destroying the plants and all that stuff. So the idea here is, Q&A from your peers, sharing the journey. So many people miss the engagement part where, if you're sharing your journey, then you're sharing the fact that you just went through the guides and you just got this set up and you just got that set up. Um, Sharing your agency website template after it's completed for review from your peers. Uh, excuse me. And by the way, I also see that stuff. And when I see that stuff, I don't just give you a thumbs up. In a lot of cases, if there's something to say or something to add to it, or if I feel like you're deviating from training, or if you need some course correction, I will definitely jump in there, chime in, and keep you on track. Right? Very much so. I'm not going to just give you a thumbs up or a love or a like or something. I'm gonna get in there, and I'll do that too, which is funny. But I will comment on your journey, right? I will comment on your progress, the mindset, what it takes, reminders, things to look for next, things to look for in the near future, uh, all kinds of stuff, right? All kinds of stuff. And it's also the Facebook group's also for accessing the live streams, the shared documents and such. But more so than anything, engagement with Ring Ad staff and myself and your peers, your peers. Very very important to keeping that engagement, right? And keeping that engagement in a positive environment. That's why we monitor the crap out of the environment. It's important. Okay. Live streams, which we're on right now. We always have training topics to cover like this. We'll always cover them first without interruption. And then at the end of each stream, we're going to have like an Ask Me Anything format. It tends to work pretty well. And once we've launched publicly, we're probably going to pick up like the Zoom calls again so that people can chime in live and share screens if they need to on campaigns or client setups, you name it. I don't mind doing that. I think that's very beneficial to everybody to be able to see that and work through that, and gives people a chance to kind of work with me a little bit one-on-one, which is nice. Um, and then again, I'm encouraging you to have the engagement, because when you do that, your results are going to be directly have a result. Excuse me, your results are going to be directly impacted or affected by that, and in a good way. When you have more engagement with us, and live stream is definitely a way to engage with us. Support. So we've got 5 ways to reach our support. I'll cover those real quick. Ringads.com. You've got support links at the top and at the bottom right hand side of the page. Inside the software, you'll actually find built-in support at the bottom left hand corner. And you can email us directly at successteam@ringads. You can submit a ticket at ringads.ladesk.com. And the Facebook group. Okay, tons of different ways to reach us in support. The support channel, which is our like our ticket system, that's mainly used. It's not only used for, but mainly used for software challenges, bugs, suggestions, things like that. Anything that might come up, it's going to be support channel based. Um, and then live streams in the group, that's going to be things everything basically non-software, which is going to be business model, ad campaign questions, client acquisition strategies, dealing with objections on sales calls, things like that. Basically everything that's non-software is going to be for the Facebook group and the live streams. Ideally, I've had support tickets come in on the support channel, the support ticket desk for private matters. That's fine too, right? I don't mind that. I'm just telling you this is the best way. That way everybody learns from each other, and we also keep support in a place where it's focused around the main tool, which is the Ring Ad software, and that's what runs our day to day. So very important to keep the focus for support desk on that as much as possible. Okay, cool. Next steps, you guys know what the deal is. I'm just going to leave that up there on the screen. I'm going to take a look at some of the comments. I'm going to grab some water because I can feel my throat already kind of getting scratchy again. I just got my voice back. I don't want to be losing it. I'm going to look at some comments here, see what we got. Okay. Happy Valentine's Day. Yes, that's correct. Today is Valentine's Day. And lucky for everybody on this call, I am single and don't care. I'm also just now, coming out of Sickville, so um, I don't really have any Valentine's Day commitments, which is kind of nice. I will not lie. Most people get sad about that for some reason. I'm actually pretty okay with it. Pretty okay with it. All right. Will we be able to bring existing Twilio phone numbers into Ring Ads? No, you will not. Ring Ads does not work with any pre-existing Twilio numbers because those numbers could have been used and or possibly abused by other software. And so what we would do, we have a very strict policy on that. It's the software is not set for you to port numbers in. You're going to basically buy new numbers, and the old numbers that you have with other software, if you're trying to like transition over or cancel out, you just delete those inside of your Twilio account direct. There's no need to worry about any kind of porting or anything like that. We do that so that, like I said, we avoid any kind of issues with contamination, I guess is the best way to describe it. And there's very specific reasons why we do that. And they're all to help you. Trust me on that one. It's not like we do that on to keep you from transitioning faster or something. It's actually a very seamless process. You log into your Twilio account, delete out the numbers you're not using because you're not going to be using them in Ring Ads, and then go to Ring Ads. And every time you set up a company and campaign, grab a new number, right? And we even have a clone feature inside of the campaign side where you go in, and if you've got 20 clients, you set up 20 companies. You'd have to do that individually anyway, and set up one campaign and just duplicate the campaign basically 19 times, and most of them will have the same settings, not all of the same settings, but pretty damn close if they're in the same vertical especially. So only thing you have to do is go in and make a couple of tweaks to each campaign, hit save, and assign it to the right company, and you're golden, right? Transitioning would not take very long at all if you already have an existing business. So we don't do any kind of porting of numbers in order to avoid any kind of challenges that you might have on your end with potential abuse from other platforms, right? Is there going to be a regular schedule for live streams, or is it ad hoc? That's a great question. Live streams are the 14th and 28th of every month. Clockwork. 14th and 28th of every month at 12 noon Pacific Standard Time. That's not going to change. People that know me from way back know that I've done that for us, over 3 years. There's a reason why I do that. Actually, many reasons why I do that, and the consistency has to be there. So yeah, I don't do. The only time I'll do an ad hoc something or other is if we've got an event coming up, if there's like a super super important topic that's time sensitive, um, launch based, anything like that. Those are ad hoc. But in terms of like dedicated one on one, not even one on one, but just live streams in general, where you can access me like that, yeah, and the staff, yeah, that's going to be twice a month, 14th and 28th. Um, we may expand out on that. Um, that's something I've considered, uh, but it's not something that's necessary. So I think maybe too much of it is overkill and would make you dependent on um, our staff when you should be dependent on your staff. And if you don't have staff, then you need to go build staff, right? And we teach you how to do that kind of stuff. I'm giving you some perspective here. Like, we're not trying to help you build a business that is dependent on us. We want you to build an independent business in this model, right? Using this model. So anyway, too much support's overkill. So I think we're just going to stick with it twice a month for now, and I'll be playing around with some of that later on. But for now, it's twice a month. That's never going to change, no matter what. 14th and 28th of every month. 14th and 28th of every month. I don't care if it's a holiday. I don't care if it's a weekend. I don't care if it's the middle of the day. There's been times where I've been halfway around the world, not even in my own time zone. And guess what? 14th and 28th of every month at 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So there's been times that that I've done coaching calls and it's been 2 a.m. my time where I was at. And I don't care. I don't. I'm going to be there. That's kind of the point. So anyway, 14th and 28th of every month, 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Bet your ass we'll be there. You there, we're there. Okay, that's how we do it. Someone's asking, will this only work with Twilio? What about CallRail or CallFire? First off, I don't like CallRail at all. I don't like CallFire at all, even less actually. Um, Not saying they're bad services, but how do I say this? Um, Not ideal. Not ideal for what this model really takes, right? So no, we're not going to be using those outside of Twilio. What I can tell you is that we do have plans to, and this is part of our updates ongoing. But we do have plans to. Um, there's at least one platform that we will be expanding into outside of Twilio. That is not to the two that you mentioned. It's not going to be CallRail or CallFire. I can tell you that because I don't like those services. I think they're junk um, for what we do. Keep in mind, for what we do, um, not for other things. For other things, they're perfectly okay. But in terms of what we do, I don't like them. They're not reliable in the way that we need them to be, and they're definitely not near as flexible. And so, in order to maintain that flexibility within something like ring ads, um, and where we're headed with it, which is your platform, basically, if you think about that, the more flexible you are, the harder it is for you to get bent out of shape. I have an old band director that used to tell me that back in high school. He said, "Stay flexible. That way you don't get bent out of shape." So that's what we're doing. We're staying flexible. We will be adding other platforms, 100%. I've already got one of them earmarked for sure, and it's on the to-do list. It's not going to be coming anytime soon. I would say don't let that impede your efforts. Get on with Twilio, get moving, get clients, and make things happen. And when the time comes, the platform that I know for sure that we're folding in will be released, right? When it's ready, when it's good to go. and you'll have the ability to use that platform. Okay. All right. Any other questions? Let's make this a last call. Again, don't want to stay on um, all day, and I definitely don't want to wear out my voice. I can feel it already. Actually, let me grab a cough drop here. Might be a good idea. I hate them, but they do work. They do work. Any other questions that you have? Let me see here. There we go. Okay, cool. Any other questions? And I'll wait for a second or two, and then and we'll bounce out. Yeah. Good questions, by the way. Nothing wrong with those questions at all. Someone say they didn't know we were having a call today, but that's cool. Yep, 14th and 28th every month, 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Not going to change. 100%. 14th and 28th of every month. Oh, man. Okay. Last call on questions. Tell you what we'll do. If you have a question, go ahead and keep typing, okay, and ask it in the comments. And I'm gonna take a break after we wrap up here shortly, and then I'll come back in and check the comments and answer anything if I see something. And if for some reason I miss it, feel free to ask in the group, right? And I'll see it somewhere. I'll see it, right? But anyway, I'm excited with what we're going to be doing on the launch here. So looking forward to that for ring ads, and what that's going to mean for your business and how you scale. And it's going to be exciting stuff. I can tell you that. Like, it's something this industry's needed for a long time, and I don't mean ring ads itself. I mean the forward thinking. There's been a lot of backwards thinking and sideways thinking, and I've had enough of it. And it's time that you folks have to stop having to put up with that kind of crap from every angle, from every level. And we're gonna make things different from the inside out. And that's the pretty exciting part for me anyway. I get to see you folks take flight with that, and that means a lot. So looking forward to that. And yeah, stay tuned via the email in the Facebook group, and we'll get you the notifications on ring ads launching publicly. We're in the final throes, though. I can tell you that it's coming up soon. So look for that, and we'll catch you on the next coaching call, which is going to be the 28th, February 28th, 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Be here, and I'll be here with you. So I'm looking forward to that. And keep in mind, I don't know why this is important or not, but maybe not. But I'll say it anyway. This year is a leap year, so February has 29 days. Just something to be aware of. Our call's on the 28th, which February always has a 28th. But this year, February has a 29th. So be aware of that. There's one more day after our call in the month of February. Still a short month, but less short this year. So anyway, I will see you on that next call. Questions and comments, ask away. Be happy to help you out. And looking forward to getting ring ads launched publicly. So I'm going to take a break, come back and check the comments, and get back to it. All right, folks, I'll see you on the next call. Bye for now.